Well, it's the top of the hour, and we have Chris and Debbie Atkinsons on here tonight. I want to welcome you guys to the Ambit Gift. We're so excited about this evening we have planned for you. We're going to try to be with you for about 30 minutes to get all the questions answered that we possibly can. I want to introduce my co-host. Her name is Courtney Dowdy. She's a senior consultant with Ambit Energy, and I'm going to bring her on, and she's going to introduce our special guest.
Thanks, Derek. We are so excited and so honored to have this powerhouse couple. You guys, they have been in the business for 12 years. They are number 5, the last we checked, income earners out of all of the independent consultants with Ambit Energy. In 2017, they became part of the $10 million club. They have won almost every award under the sun: the Ambit Choice, the Crystal Sphere, the Co-Founders Impact Award, and the Thompson Leadership Award. Of course, they've been on probably every 5-star trip that has ever been. But please help me welcome national consultants, Chris and Debbie Atkinson.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, we're so happy to have you. The very first question that, of course, I know everybody wants to hear is why Ambit? That's the question for both of you.
No, because nothing else worked. I mean, honestly, I had tried a few different MLMs in my history, and I just never managed to get anything rolling with it. The best I had ever done in MLM before Ambit was $1,200 a month, and I was trying to live and survive on that. So for me, when I saw this, it was just a no-brainer because it was energy. It wasn't any service or product. I mean, any product or any nonsense like that. It was just a service that everybody was already using. So it was an easy decision for me once I saw it. Now this lady's a little different.
Well, I wasn't looking for anything else, but I found Ambit, or Ambit found me. I was working so many hours in nursing. I was mentally and physically exhausted. So I said, what if I could make an extra $500 a month here? And that was my whole goal, was an extra $500 a month. And that's why I started my Ambit business.
Now,
Did y'all hear that clock in the background?
What's that?
Did you hear the clock in the background? We still haven't gotten rid of Christmas music around here.
I love it. It's great. So tell me now, didn't Chris introduce you to the business?
Right. I had just met Chris a couple of weeks before. He brought Ambit to me through one of my girlfriends, and he tried to bring it to her. She was already in an MLM and said, no, but you need to bring it to Debbie. And I was fussing at her. I said, I can't believe you gave him my number. I told you I didn't want to do that stuff. And then he called and I was like, no, I'm not interested. I have enough work. He said, wait a minute. You don't even know what you're saying no to. I said, okay, I'll take a look and then I'll tell you no. And that was my full intentions. But what I saw, like I said, it just maybe an extra $500 a month, and I would be excited about that. So that's why I joined.
I get to meet you, Chris, at Coach Alan Johnston's house one night. I don't remember if you remember this, but it was an unbelievable night talking about cars. You told me about your Corvette and all the stuff that you like about cars. And in fact, you guys were telling me earlier before we came live that they just got a new car tonight. But I have a vivid memory of you sitting there. It was under Triple Money, and you had this little ringtone. It was a little money chime, and I was just mesmerized that how many times that little chime went off. And that was a huge validation for me, just to be able to know that, hey, this guy that's at the time, I think you had a $5 million jacket on at that time, that a guy that was like me, that was down to earth, that, just loved Ambit and loved helping people. And then the other thing is, we see all these great, big, huge, tall guys that have been making all this money. And, I'm a short guy like you. And I'm like, man, those short guys can make it happen. But, I just talk about the explosion. When did the explosion in your business happen? What was the catalyst for your business to grow so fast?
Well, I think there's multiple reasons of why. I mean, we ended our first year we ended with 1,974 consultants in our business. And there was some reasons for that. I mean, both of us had our backs against the wall when we joined. It was different walls. You know, I mean, I was just sick and tired of being broke, sick and tired of living at my parents', sick and tired of always having to make excuses. You know, I mean, I would have people call me and say, hey, do you want to go get something to eat and go to a movie? Hey, you want to just go bowling tonight? And I would have to make up excuses, not because I didn't want to go, but just because I didn't have $5 or $10 on me. And then Debbie, like she said earlier, she was just, you know, when people work an 8-hour shift, they claim to be tired when they get home. You know, try working 2 of them back to back and doing that for 12 years. That's what she had done, 7 days a week, not 5. So, you know, back to back 8-hour shifts every day of the week. And so her back was against the wall because she wanted out of that. So we kind of use that as our fuel. And so that always fired us up. You know, I remember the second day in the business, I just followed what Steve Thompson told me. So when I joined that night, he told me, he said, go out tomorrow and sponsor 3 consultants. And he hung up on me. And so that's what I did. And then I called him back and I said, okay, I did that. Now what? He said, well, go help those 3 each do the same. And then call me back tomorrow. So I did. And the following day, I got a phone call from Brian McClure. He said, how did that feel to have 9 people join your business in one day? I said, dude, that was awesome. He said, cool, make sure that happens all the time. And so we just kept pushing and pushing and pushing until, you know, the big explosion happened. And that day you're talking about, I remember that day. We had a training the next day on that Saturday. And I remember asking Coach Allen jokingly, do you want me to turn my phone on to vibrate or silent? He said, no, let it go. You know, and we actually set a record that day, you know, and some numbers you just never forget. That one individual day, we had 1,031 coded people join our business in one given day. And so, you know, sometimes when you look back, you realize all the work you did was worth it because it starts to give you some time freedom moving forward.
Yeah, that it was unbelievable. It was like on the final day of triple, wasn't it? And it was just like one after another. And I'm like, is that just keep going off and again? And you're like, no, that's a new one every time. And that was a very powerful thing for me. I think that, you know, a lot of people look at that as like, hey, I'm bragging that this is what I have. But there's people that are watching, leaders that say, man, I know it works. I've heard that money sign go off 1,000 times. I think it felt like in like 2 hours that we got to spend with you. But I know Courtney has a question, and I saw a Steve Thompson, and my heart almost fell out of my chest today when I looked down, and I even sent it to Courtney, and it said, Steve Thompson has now joined the Ambit Gift on YouTube, and I was like, wow. And so, Courtney, will you ask that question, please?
Absolutely. So yes, Steve Thompson just asked, what do you do when it seems like your sponsor is being too demanding and can just seem mean?
You stop answering his phone calls, man. You know,
well, wait a minute, because Steve does not have the monopoly on that. You see, Chris was actually my sponsor because he brought me in the business. I had just met him 2 weeks before that. So, Steve, whatever you said to Chris, it trickled on down. Chris was mean to me too. It's amazing I didn't quit because he was just mean. But you know what? It made me successful. It made me have the thick skin that I needed to get the job done. And I was committed, and I needed to know what to do. And just by knowing that these people were really committed to helping me, but I had to follow the instructions or they weren't going to help me. I had to do what they expected, and they set the bar high. So Steve actually set the bar high for Chris, and it trickled down, and Chris set the bar high for me. So it wasn't that they were being mean, they were being stern and mean. But
well, and I know that we need that sometimes. My sponsor or my upline would tell me, you can make excuses or you can make money. So you can do that or not. And so always is a motivator.
actually, you're right. And so what we've done is we set the bar high for our consultants. And I think that's another reason that we've had the explosion that we've had, is because we expect more from them. If they don't want to do it, they end up quitting. But if they do want to do it, they go on and have massive success. And, you know, Chris can tell you the story about when Tim Ullinger came into the business. He was the same way with Tim as he was with me. He had that stern look. This is what you have to do if you want to be successful. So just do it. Don't ask any questions. And that was the way we were brought up into the business. And that's the way we bring people up into the business.
But you know, Courtney, you can relay it back to Steve too. And I say it all the time, is I'm so grateful that he was that way. You know, we found out over our time here that you cannot be that way with everyone. But I truly believe if he would have been Mr. Nice Guy to me, that it just wouldn't have worked. I mean, it just wouldn't have pushed me over the edge to start to push myself and others. So actually just extremely grateful that he was mean. Still is today though, by the way.
Yeah, that would be awesome to have that leader. And we do have a great leader in Coach Alan Johnston. Well, that next question that we have is from Jennifer Herrick. She says, what do you say when people say, I believe that you can make it work, but I just don't think it's for me?
What's not for you, making money or saving money? You know, I mean, we like to have fun with people. You know, we won't necessarily laugh, but we'll ask a question that can be interpreted that way. So, you know, when people say that to us, which they still say it all the time, it's not for me. What's not for you, making money or saving money? Because you see, you got to realize that people are they're just scared. They're scared of their own shadows. So they're going to say something that they think is so easy and so simple for them to be able to walk away. And a lot of times, you know, we as consultants, we just let them walk away. But if we would ask a couple of questions, then things can happen. Matter of fact, we just kind of had this happen to us 2 or 3 weeks ago when we had an individual that did a little bit of work for us. So we asked him to take a look at the video. Debbie called him back and he said those words. He said, you know, this just really isn't for me. And Debbie said, well, can I ask you, what do you mean by that? You know, and he went on to tell us the reasoning for it. And so she probably had a 5-minute conversation with him, worked him through a couple of the obstacles, got him to now come to the live business presentation. He got there. We were actually out of town, but we had one of our ECs, Leslie Miller, watch out for him, take care of him. After the meeting, Leslie calls us and says, here, I just want you to talk to your new consultant. Just wrote all his information down on a piece of paper for you. So, you know, a lot of times it's just ask a question. Don't let people walk away too quick.
You know, I think communication is a key factor on any rejection, objection, anything that people have to say about this. Communication, if you will ask them questions about whatever they've said, whatever their response is, ask them questions. Sometimes their bottom line, why they don't want to get in, is not what they said. It's usually something else. And by asking questions, you can really get into the bottom line about why they don't think it's for them or why it's not going to work. I'm sorry we're having to hold our dogs, but if we don't, they're going to run around and bark and be really distracting.
It is quite all right. We've already met a little bit ago and they are so super cute. We do not mind. We have a great question from Robert Martinez and a little bit about something that Jennifer wanted to know too. When you have someone trying to succeed and you know they've been knocked down by life circumstances every time, How do you keep them focused and motivated in spite of their negative circumstances or in the way they feel about themselves, their doubts that they have?
So always go back to money.
Or their why.
Because money is what's going to change people's negative circumstances. And people always misunderstand when we talk like this. Oh my God, it's just about you making money. Well, if this was a different MLM, absolutely. But here, the only way that any consultant can make a great income is by helping others to duplicate and do the same exact thing. So when you have somebody in your group that's just down and out, which, I think we might have one or two of those in our group, we do the simple things. We sit them down and we say, do you remember that residual slide? 3 consultants who average 3, who have $11,000+ a month. Is that going to change some of your current circumstances? Well, what's some of the things that you would do when that kind of money comes rolling in? And always key words, when, not if, but when. See, because now you start to get into their goals, their dreams, the why. And you got to get people back focused on their why. In the beginning, that was something we taught every training we ever went to. And sometimes now we kind of see that slipping away from the trainings. People want to talk about other types of ways of making this work. And, we go to so many trainings now. Oh yeah, you got to set goals. They just kind of really just feather over it. And they want to get into all the, listen, we're online now, but sometimes people want to get too much into marketing and Facebook marketing and all this, where if you focus on your why, you're going to see more success. And we truly believe that's something that's kind of gotten away from us all in Ambit. And we're doing our best to get refocused on that. So what we did recently is we had a group of people over to our house, some that were doing okay and some that were, just wasn't quite working out the way they had always hoped. And we had a big vision board party. And we probably took 2 hours with them, cutting out pictures, gluing them onto the poster board. But then we got them to talk about it. And we took their picture with the vision board. And then we have our big training coming up next Saturday here in Houston. And we made them all a promise. Tell us something on that vision board that you would love to have and to have by May 16th. And if you accomplish it, March 16th. And if you accomplish it, well, we're going to make a pretty big deal about you at the training and recognition rally. It gave them something else to push about. So I'm not going to give out any names because I want it to be a surprise at the training. But I had a person call me up the other day and they said, it's so cool. I'm buying the second thing that I put on the vision board from your house that day. I can't wait for the big training.
Wow, that's awesome, man. That is cool. Well, Gary Cousins says, how do you avoid the rate comparison competition trap for potential customers or prospects?
Well, if they really want to talk rate, I talk about, well, then let's get it for free, because there's nothing cheaper than free if you really want to talk rate. Now, I am in this business and I need you to help me out. And it's usually friends. So I ask for the favor. I don't mind playing the favor card. Or I do business with people that do business with me. We just said that to the guy that sold us our car, our new car. So I don't have a problem saying all of that about do me a favor. Because I tell people all the time, if I opened up a restaurant, would you come and eat at my restaurant? Oh, yeah, I'll support you in your restaurant. Really? What if I don't have the best food in town? Are you still going to come? Well, yeah, I'll come. Well, what if my food is not the cheapest food in town? Yeah, I'll still come. Well, it's the same difference. I still need your support in my business by switching over your bill. And so, yes, I don't want to cost you more money, so we can work together and I can help you get it for free. And I guarantee you then rate is not going to be a problem. So that's the way I deal with it personally. and usually I can sway them to be my customer. Now, I've got customers that I signed up in 2006 when I got started. And really, they did me a favor. Would you do me a favor and be my customer? See, I showed them the opportunity. They said, no, be my customer. And this was the response. Well, I've never heard of that company. I said, you know, I'm really new. All I can tell you is I switched my electricity and it's still on. The company was brand new. We hadn't done anything yet. And they said, okay, Debbie, I trust you, so go ahead and switch me too. So that's what we did. Now, a few years ago, this person called me to renew his contract yet again and said, and I said, well, let me get the best rate for you. He said, you know what? I'm never leaving you. I'm never leaving your company, because I know one thing. I know it's a good company. They send me great bills, and I know you will take care of me. So I'm never leaving you. And that's what you're looking for, is those loyal customers. So if someone can't be your loyal customer through do me a favor or let's work together and get you free energy and all of that, maybe you don't want them. You don't want them for a month or two and then they switch away. You want loyal customers that will come up and just say, I am going to support you in your business. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Just to add on to that real quick, Derek, I think a lot of people get stuck in the thing that every person they put this in front of is supposed to join them one way or the other. And they start to get a little frustrated when not 100% of people are joining. You don't want everybody, you know, and, you know, so if you're having to struggle to convince someone to be your customer, just imagine the torment that you're going to deal with month in and month out from that one person. And it doesn't take a big negative bomb to ruin your day. Sometimes one little word from the wrong person at the wrong time can ruin the next 10 conversations that you're going to have. So sometimes we just need to be grateful that it's easier to just walk away rather than convince somebody to get started.
That's so great. So it's so true, and it's super hard sometimes to manage those disappointments. But knowing that we're in such a great company, and we've got lots of questions rolling in. I have one here from Dale Smith. What's the best way to get a new business partner to add their Ambit business to their already established life routine?
Well, I guess I'm going to assume that question means, you know, we're already busy, so how do we find time for Ambit? You know, I make jokes all the time, but it's actually true. The first thing is turn off the TV. You'll find a lot more time if you just stop wasting time watching the TV. But Debbie and I, we both agree that we really ask people for minimum time in the beginning. Give us 30 minutes a day. And we'll tell it to them, you know, we're just asking you for 20, 30 minutes, not 3 or 4 hours. Just give us a little bit of time, because we're going to do 95% of the work in the beginning. And what we always mean by that is once you make your list, once you make the invitation call, we'll gladly take it from there. But you got to put us in front of people. Once you introduce us to somebody, then just be quiet and let us do the rest. That's doing 95% of the work, because it's doing all the hard stuff, right? So I think a lot of times where people get caught up again is they think that somebody is supposed to, you know, stop their life, give up some portion of their life. Why don't we just find some of that spare time in the beginning? Go back to what we said earlier. Hey, do you remember that residual slide? 3 who averaged 3, who averaged 3, $11,000+ a month coming into your family's account. Would that be worth you giving up 30 or 45 minutes of your day to focus solely on this? And Courtney, here's the problem. People can focus today, but they just focus on way too many things. You gotta carve out some time to drastically and dramatically focus on your Ambit business, which can lead you to a better future.
Yeah. And I'm going to take and use this as an example, like the guy that we signed up that had the excuse, no, it's not for me. And we ended up signing him up. and he is busy. He owns his own company. He works late hours. He missed the meeting last night because the job didn't get finished till after the meeting was over. So tonight, on our way home from getting the car, he called me because I said, you have to call me every night, and we have to work this business together every night. So right now what his is, and I give him like a job description because they don't know what to do sometimes. So it's like, okay, get your list. I need you to call 3 people off the list, get them to look at the video, and 3-way me in. First, you ask for the decision. Are you ready to get started, make some money with me? If they have questions, 3-way me in. So that's what he is supposed to be doing tonight. And I told him, you've got to do some work for your business every single night, or nothing's ever going to change in your life. I know. Okay. So that's what he's doing right now. He's getting 3 people to watch the online video tonight so that we can either get one of them signed up, or he can 3-way me in and answer questions and follow up with a meeting if needed. But so they have to know what to do. We can't just turn them out and say, here, go do it. Go get your list out and do whatever. Get someone to the meeting next week. I don't want him to wait to the meeting next Tuesday night. This is Wednesday. He could have 3 or 4 people in the business between now and next week, and now they're bringing guests too.
That is true. Now, Mark Fromm, wants to ask you, Debbie, to drill down on the why.
Oh, the why. Let me tell you, I found this exercise about 4 or 5 years ago because I had a guy that told me what his why was. And I asked him, I said, why is that important to you? And then he told me something else. And I said, why is that important to you? So the exercise is to continue asking yourself, why is that important to me? Till you can get down to where you're tearing up and nearly crying in order to talk about your real why. So I'll give you an example. My why is to make more money. Why is that important to you? Well, I want to provide more for my children. And why is that important to you? And normally providing for your children, most people would go, that's a great why. That's not a why. So why is that important to you? Because I want to give my children a better life, better than what I had. And why is that important to you? Because I want them to have a better life. You know, I mean, they just kept, but I had to keep drilling. Well, why is that important to you? Why is that important to you? And finally, he started to tear up. And he said, my dad was always at work trying to provide a good life for me. And really what I wanted was his time. So really, I need to make more money so that I have time freedom to be with my children, to provide for them a better life, being with them, not just providing funds for them to have more things. I wanted my dad's time more than anything. And he was so busy making a good life for us, I never saw him. I never got to spend time with him. So the man's crying. And what he really wanted was to quit his job, to match that income, quit his job so that he had the time freedom to be with his children. So that's a whole different why than I want to make more money to provide a better life for my children. So people have to drill down until they start to cry and tear up and find that why. Now, this is an exercise that might take, it will take a great deal of thought and time. Don't rush this exercise, but the sooner you do this to find your real why, the sooner you're going to be committed to making your reality, your dreams become a reality. Great question.
That is so true. I had the blessing to, at one of my very first ambitions, to sit next to Philip Eckhart, and he just happened to sit next to me, and he asked me what my why was while we were sitting there, and I told him, you know, I just want to make more money for my family. And he looked at me like I was crazy, man, I swear. And he said, no, what's the real reason why? And I told him, I said, man, I was 3 house payments behind on my house. And, I told him all the difficulties I was going through at the time. And he did a great thing. He said, if you're not telling people that, you're a fool. He said, because that is what's going to set you apart from anyone else. And that was one great, and he doesn't talk very much. And, that's pretty much the only time I really talked to Philip, but he gave me that great advice, and it was truly a blessing to my heart. So I'm sorry, Courtney.
I think he muted himself before he finished that phrase, but that's okay. I remember sitting in Ambition and listening to Debbie train on drilling down the why and going out of there. And I wrote it really big in my notebook, why, and get all the way down until your why makes you cry. Then you aren't to the root of your why. It's such valuable information. Brenda Mesa is from Refugio, Texas. And her question is, how do you get your family to believe in what you're doing and to support you? She does her bills in different ways to show her the difference. But, our family knows it's the best. And so we have some personal experience with that, it took us 2 years to get one of our dads. And it finally, I'll be a customer finally, but I mean, that we know this part. So talk about your family.
When somebody figures that out, please let us know. I mean, to this day, my own brother still will not join. My own sister to this day still will not join. We have a sister that passed away in 1991, and my parents he was then 6 years old, raised their child, and my brother-in-law was serving in the Navy, and he just couldn't get out. It was during Desert Storm. So my parents just took the child in and raised him. And that guy to this day still won't even be a customer of my own father. So how do we get our family involved? I think it's just like anybody else. Some will and some won't. I got my dad involved by just sitting next to him and asking him, for his information. And so he became my customer. He didn't even know he was doing it. But that took 6 weeks. It took us 18 months, a year and a half, to get Debbie's 2 boys, Bobby and Joseph Haynes, into the business. Now they're in-season millionaires, but it took 18 months. But I guess if you really want to know the secret, and it's not just about your family, it could be about somebody that's real close to you, a good, close personal friend, because a lot of times they're going to say no, Courtney, for the reason that you said. They already know you. So if you want them in your business, the best thing you can do is go become successful, right? People want to follow successful people. One of the jokes I make all the time is, it's just about trainings. I heard you say Steve Thompson was on earlier. He's going to be our special trainer next Saturday in Houston. And so just imagine if the promotion was Steve Thompson, 12 years in Ambit. You have to hear everything that comes out of his mouth, because in 12 years, he sponsored 4 people and has made $6,000. I mean, who's going to come listen to that, right? He would never be able to build any business if that was the true story. So that's why you always have to use some fuel that's gifted to us. And a lot of times the gift that we get is the no's that we receive. And when those no's come from our best friends, our close acquaintances, our family members, you got to use that as fuel to your own insides, to your own engine, to your own why, and go promote again and promote again. And now you can go back to them and say, look at this check. Are you sure you don't want one? Sometimes when they're that close to us, we can be blunt, and we need to be. Not telling you they're going to join. Again, my own brother and my own sister to this very day have zero desire to look at this. And my brother lives 1 mile, one exit from the Austin Round Rock meeting.
Wow, that's crazy. Now you talked a little bit about the gift, and this is going to be the last question on that because we want to be very respectful of your time. Um, the channel that we have is called the Ambit Gift, and when you're an Ambit, you know what the gift of Ambit is, and you kind of went on about that. So, what does the Ambit Gift mean to the both of you?
Well, there's two parts to that. One, the Ambit gift was what we got out of it. The time freedom, the financial freedom, the less stress, being able to be with our children, taking vacations with them, knowing that they're going to be taken care of. So, that was a gift to us. Now, we had to work hard to get where we are. But even working hard in Ambit is a gift all in its own, because through working hard to achieve what we've wanted to achieve, we got to meet some of the most wonderful people on the planet. We got to help them change their lives financially, even if we had no financial gain from them, like you guys and many people on this call. We get to help other people become successful, or maybe stretch their vision, or say one thing that might change the whole direction of which way they're going with their business. And that's a gift all in its own. I mean, Ambit comes with so many different gifts. It's like the best Christmas morning ever, because as you open a different gift, it's a different person that comes up and says, "Oh my gosh, thank you for saying what you said at Ambition, because whatever." Or another gift, opening it up and saying, "I am so glad you said yes, because that led to this, to this, to this, to this, to this person getting in the business and becoming a millionaire and changing his life, which in turn changed mine, which in turn changed everybody's up the line." It's just that it's a gift that we've got that we keep trying to give away to more and more people. At the dealership today, I've got 2 more contacts that I'm trying to give this gift to. And I'm going to follow up with both of them tomorrow. And so we're super excited about that. It's not only the gift we get, but it's the gift we get to give to others.
So why on the earth would we keep personally sponsoring people? We've already sponsored over 300 in our 12 years here. And, we have a nice sized group. And why would we keep doing that? It's for what Debbie just said. We believe it's a gift. I mean, I think of all these people that have changed their lives, right? I mean, you got people from Brian McClure making $40+ million so far, all the way down to the one that just got the yellow jackets, including a senior consultant at this past Ambition. And I lose sleep when I think, what if Chris Chambliss wouldn't have made that list? What if he wouldn't have followed up with Brian 4 times? Then none of us would have gotten this ability. None of us, right? What if they wouldn't have brought Carlos in? What if they wouldn't have picked up the phone and called Frank Schmeling to start the only 3 lines that are really doing anything to bring this company $1.4 billion annually? What if? And so we believe the gift is that we need to keep sharing this with people, because if we don't, maybe somebody never will. And why would I want to let someone that I had the ability to share this with, why would I want to let them not hear about it to make their own grown-up adult decision if this is for them or not? Why would I want to take that gift away and let them keep struggling, either not making enough money or working too many hours? So we believe now that the gift is some people say it's paying it forward, but paying it forward means you're going to be there to see the job done. You're going to see it through. It's not about just sponsoring somebody. It's about what are you going to do the next day, the next week, the next month, the next year with them, as long as they're still showing up, of course. So I believe our gift is that we're just so grateful that somebody called us, and couldn't imagine life without this opportunity. And so that's something I'll never forget, never. And so I just want to allow others to have that same feeling in their heart in the future. Not about me, but about you, about everybody that's listening tonight. I mean, let me ask you a simple question. If your sponsor was sitting right next to you right now, what would you do? Would you reach over and just crack their neck and wish them dead? Or would you say, man, thank you? You know, I mean, because of you, I've paid off a credit card. Because of you, I see light at the end of the tunnel. You know, because of you, I see a true opportunity. In other words, you'd have a little bit of gratitude, correct? So why are you so selfish with this opportunity? Why aren't you allowing others to be that grateful to you? That's why you got to go share this plan as often as you can. And you got to help more and more and more of your teammates to go share the plan. And we do that through that key word that Debbie said earlier, communication. You got to be picking up the telephone and making phone calls to as many downline consultants as you possibly can. Derek, Courtney, man, it's been a pleasure and an honor. Thank you for thinking about us and allowing us onto this call tonight, man. We sure appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
We truly appreciate you too. I want to make a couple announcements here, if you guys don't mind. We've got another great week planned for you guys next week. Every Monday night, we do a live show on YouTube that's Free Energy Live. Basically, we use Free Energy to invite our customers to take a look at the business, is what Free Energy Live is. And that'll be next week will be Jake Hughes on March 11th. And then we're going to have another Q&A with Kirk Horan. He's also a Thompson Leadership Award. And if Steve Thompson is still watching live, we would love to have you on the Ambit Gift. We want to get every Thompson Leadership Award winner interviewed if all possible before Ambition. We truly appreciate you guys watching the Ambit Gift. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button. And if you hit the little bell notification right next to that, that'll allow you anytime that we put new content out, you'll know. We truly appreciate you guys watching this evening. You guys have a wonderful night. Good night.
Thank you.
God
Good
bless.
night.
God bless.
Thank you. Good night.